A good conversation, and I love having this conversation because it's such a controversial one, especially with the divide in like the old generation versus like the new generation. But here's what I think, here's what I'll say, right? The number one thing that I always tell new YouTubers whenever they ask me for advice is getting to the top of the mountain. That's the easy part, right? Making it as a YouTuber, having YouTube become your job, that is the easy part. Obviously, it's really difficult to do. Not many people can do it, but that's the easy part compared to what comes next. Because keeping it as your job, staying on top of the mountain, that is a much harder thing to do, right? And the only way to do it is to never get complacent, never get comfortable, right? You always have to be adapting, always have to be trying new things. And sometimes those new things don't work out, right? But you always have to be moving. You can never just sit back and go, I did it, right? Everyone can think of like a YouTuber that you probably watched back in the day. And, maybe they made like Minecraft Let's Play content or something like that. And that was really, really big 10 years ago. But now no one's going to sit there and watch someone punch a tree for 8 minutes in Minecraft, right? Like people have moved on from that. And so there's so many big YouTubers that like still make that kind of content and it just doesn't do as well anymore because people have moved on, audiences have moved on. You have to constantly be adapting and changing and molding with the audience, right? And that brings me back to the shorts conversation. The reality is a lot of the newer generation, all right, I'm not talking like Gen Alpha, I'm even like younger Gen Zs, right? Kids, teenagers. The number one app on their phone is TikTok. They're watching TikToks, right? Um, Even, my fiance, Kayla, right? In bed, she's not watching a YouTube video, she's scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on Reels, something like that. The reality is like this is where people are at now, right? And yeah, 10 years ago, it was completely different, but now this is where people are at. And a lot of the younger audiences, they're watching TikToks, they're watching Reels, they're watching shorts. And yeah, a lot of it is really stupid and it's goofy and it's dumb. And the reason why that we think that is because we're probably like 20 years old, right? 25, 30 years old, right? But to these 10-year-olds, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. I always bring up the stat because it blows my mind. 50%, almost 50% of all the people that watch my YouTube shorts, the watch time is coming from TV. Almost 50% of the watch time on my shorts is coming from people watching on television. People are watching YouTube shorts on television. That is crazy, but they're doing it. Why? I have no idea. But that's just what kids and teenagers do now, right? And so the reality is like here's the thing. If you want to stay relevant, if you want to stay on top of the mountain, if you want to keep pushing forward, whatever it may be, like you have to adapt to where the audience is, right? And the audience is on YouTube shorts, they're on TikTok. It's why TikTok just passed Twitch as the top live streaming platform, right? Literally TikTok has a larger live stream audience than Twitch, the place that is built for live streaming. And the reason why is because people are watching vertical streams and vertical content, right? Now, obviously, that brings with it a whole heap of new problems and things to solve. Like, for example, one big issue is like YouTube Shorts and TikToks, they don't really make a lot of money, right? Like, my YouTube Short streams, bang, right? Tons of viewers, tons of new subscribers. But they don't make barely any money at all, right? Because you can't put an ad, you can't put a 3-minute ad before a TikTok or a YouTube short, right? It just don't work. So like, how do you navigate that? How do you solve that? I don't know. It's a problem that we're currently in. It's a situation that we're currently solving, right? How do you move that shorts audience to long form videos? How do you get the people watching your shorts to watch your regular videos? It's possible, there are people in this community that have done it, right? There are people that have gotten super big, like Uwu Cute Single, for example, went from being one of the most hated Roblox YouTubers on the planet to now getting like 300,000 plus views a video with 10 million plus views a short. right? She's massive, absolutely massive. And the reason how is because she has navigated this, right? Like this is where the audience is. Um, and it's like 5 years from now, there's going to be a world where people are probably mostly watching vertical content. Is that weird to me? Yeah, but like that's just where we're at, right? And I think there's going to be kind of like a culture clash between like older audiences is like if you grew up watching, YouTube videos and like, regular long form content, you're probably going to look at that and be like, dude, I don't want to do anything like that. Like, that's crazy to me. And it's like, yeah, that you didn't grow up with that, right? That's not where you're used to. Like, there's going to be a little bit of a clash there, right? Um, how do you navigate that? I don't know, right? But even for me, just speaking on my stats, and this is like a super long, this is basically a YouTube video at this point, right? I'm just talking. But the reality is like over the past year, I have seen my regular live stream audience go down and down and down and down. I have seen my shorts live stream audience go up and up and up and up. And videos are fine. Videos are banging, right? Videos are great. But the people on my channel that watch regular long form live streams, it is going down. It is a downward trend. The people watching my shorts live streams, it is an upward trend. And it's like, it sucks for me because the majority of my money comes from long form live streams, right? But it's like, I can't just do long form streams because 2 years from now, nobody's going to be watching them, right? Because like people are watching short form content, and like, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's a crazy time. It's a difference in generations, right? But it takes me back to the initial thing I said. It's like getting to the top of the mountain is the easy part. Staying on top of the mountain, that's the hard part. If you want to stay on top of the mountain, you got to adapt to where the audiences are. And right now, vertical content is where the audience is going. So that's my 7.5 minute Twitter response to this. Man, 30 more seconds. We could have gotten mid rolls on YouTube. That's crazy. All right. Have a great day.